think it's on now. I hope I see where the sound is with this. Can I be heard? Testing. We are. Okay, I think we are live here. We'll see how it turns out once we finish. This is Sunday night, soon to be Monday morning. This is a Sunday night chat. Here I am drinking out of my camera lens, water. This is an unscripted chat. I wanted to take an informal approach to recording this chat to start the week. It is Sunday here in the United States of America. And as unscripted as this is, I did take some notes and some things that I wanted to remember as I was talking to you, with you, about you. How are you doing? I hope you are well. One of the hardest things to do right now especially is to be public speaking, because your opinion can get you in trouble, or at least you feel it can be something that can get you in trouble if you are led by the media, if you are led by the news sources that seem to control your life, or at least attempt to on a daily basis. Public speaking, perhaps, is one of the most important things that you can do during your time on this earth. Your freedom of speech is something that is guaranteed to you from the Constitution, but it doesn't work unless you take it. It does not work unless you make it your own. We are living in a time that freedom of speech is under attack from many different sources. But guess what? Your freedom of speech is still alive in that right now you can make a podcast like this one. Right now you can take to media sources like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and share your opinion. Even though they have words you cannot say, you can still take it upon yourself to exercise your freedom of speech, even if it's 3 people that get to see it in 4 months, or 500 people, or 5,000. It's still you exercising your right to speak. As you've seen these last 2 years, because of the government shutdowns, also known as the effort to control your lives, a lot of people have transitioned from just aimlessly posting online to making broadcasts online like this one. So 3 years ago, you wouldn't see a lot of people with microphones, but now you will see a lot of people with microphones doing interviews, even people who have been celebrities for a long time doing interviews with people or giving their opinion, just like I am right now. One thing that I'd like to challenge you with is, everywhere you go, take a pen with you, take a pad with you, and organize your thoughts, write down your thoughts, because guess what? Many of the best ideas that you will have, you will not have them by the time you get home or to a place in which you will have something to write with. If you want to play a little game, get in a group of about 40 people, or any large group of people, and just ask, does anyone have a pen? And see how long it takes you to get that pen that you asked for. Everything has gone electronic. Everything has gone the way of the dodo, extinct. So if you have everything electronically, whenever someone wants, they can unplug it, and you have no record of what was there before. what was once something that was held in esteem is now something that has vanished from existence. So write down whatever thought you have and encourage other people who you see that are giving their opinion and who are not as afraid to get canceled as others. And not just the people who you see are trying to become famous overnight, but people who are really saying something, even if it's not me. Give it to someone else, because one of the hardest things to do right now is to share your opinion where you are constantly being told that your opinion is not valid, whether it's because of masks everywhere, because you have the wrong opinion, because you haven't got in your arm or wherever, or because you haven't said the right words. So write it down. You don't have to organize it so much. Sometimes all you need is to get started. They have a lot of courses offering a lot of promises. Sometimes all you have to do is get started. You don't need my permission. You don't need someone else's permission. But starting is the hardest thing to do when you are used to doing nothing. How many of you are getting ready to go to work tomorrow to a job that you dislike? You might want to sit there and just write, this is what I dislike about this job. This is what I'd rather be doing instead. And these are the things that I will do to try to get there. It's not going to be easy, but it will be exciting. It will create life. And I'm not saying leave your job. I'm not saying leave what is making you do the things that you have in your life to make your life run as it should. What I am saying is take more control of your life and the things in it and the people that you'd like to be surrounded by. I'm not one of these people that's going to tell you to quit your job, to leave it all behind, to look for your higher self and to become this fully independent person and not worry about anything and life is now. I'm not going to tell you that, because only you know how far you want to get. With that being said, if anybody would like to have a conversation online with me, I would love to have the chance to speak with you about a variety of subjects, or perhaps a business that you'd like to promote and you need help promoting it. I'd like this to be a place where people can come and get their business ideas out there. Because if you can talk about what's wrong with the world, you can also talk about what you can do to make it a better place, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me. I think it goes something like that. Out of curiosity, how many people skip commercials when when they're watching TV, when they're watching YouTube, when they're watching Netflix? You seem to be bombarded every few minutes with commercials. I know on the computer you can use ad blocker and you can bypass commercials. But sometimes you can't bypass the commercial. And sometimes 5 seconds, and then you can skip to the actual content that you want to see becomes one of 2 commercials, and now you have to wait and see the other commercial. How many things are you forced to do that you don't want to do? What does freedom look like to you? Why do you go online anyway? To look for content. Why aren't you creating your own? Why do you have to rely on someone else to give you what you can make yourself? Interesting question. I remember there used to be a time in the 80s and the 90s that, and even before then, there was a huge advertising budget for commercials, for advertising, for artistry, that went into making these commercials. What comes to mind right away is a commercial for this hotel in New York that was called the Milford Plaza. It was about $300 a night to stay there, the Milford Plaza, and they had these Broadway choreography and actors in the commercial. And in the commercial, they would perform and try to get people to come down to the hotel. That's how much money they put into advertising. So to think that you are going to have a business and not spend on advertising and just going to rely on word of mouth or someone seeing it, especially when so many people want their product to be seen nowadays, it might be almost impossible for that to happen. But guess what? You have an opportunity to sell yourself. And I am going to sell you these classes for $99.99. No, I'm not going to do that. At least not yet. So every week, a question that you should always have is, what do I want to do? What do I want from this week? How do I want my week to live? How do I want my week to look like in the life that I am living? So let's say you have a 9-to-5 job. What are you doing after work that is going to get you closer to where you want to be? Even if the question is nothing, you can always take a few steps to get there after work. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is to do nothing. And what I'm saying is, don't fight against that feeling of doing nothing. Even if the only thing you want to do after work is lay in bed and watch Netflix, do that. But know in the back of your mind, knowing that you don't want to be in this space forever. What you want to do is get closer to where you want to be, where you want to feel good about yourself, where you want to look good, where you want to feel good, where you want to make good decisions, where you want to act not out of fear, but out of courage. So it can be right now you're not working and you don't know where your job is going to come from, but you do know that you'd like to see animals up close in the safaris of Kenya, somewhere in the Serengeti. And you don't know how you're going to get there, but you know you're going to get there. So one thing you can do is go to the gym. Take a few steps. You can walk around your block, walk around your apartment if it's too cold for you. Walk in the hallway. Walk around the building in which you live. Get some energy under you. Maybe make your bed. Maybe shave if you haven't shaved in a long time. Small steps can many times combine and become big action. And the more action you have under your belt, you will see that things start opening up. You'll start becoming the person that you wanted to be, or the person that you once were and had forgot you were that person. Most people, including myself, have to do these things every day. Have to do something every day to remind ourselves that this is the path we have chosen. This is the path that many people will not take, because after high school, there's not a lot of things that keep you motivated. There's not a lot of things that are saying, you as an adult, I am behind you. And perhaps that's part of being an adult. But the only thing that will cure your the only thing that will cure your inaction is action. Just do something. Don't beat yourself up for not having started earlier. Don't beat yourself up for not taking the road that you wish you would have taken 20 years ago. Start where you are. Keep going. Be consistent. Develop a little bit more discipline when it comes to eating, when it comes to working out, when it comes to grooming yourself, when it comes to moving your body, when it comes to expecting the best from yourself and those around you. And sometimes it means that everyone who is in your life now will not be able to come with you, but still develop a sense of gratitude for people who have gotten you to where you are, and not expect everyone to support you in what you are doing, because again, this is your vision, this is your quest, and this is your life alone to discover. Everyone's on their own path. And some people, you will see that they're on a similar journey, but other people, you will see that they are too worried about the small things to even see the bigger picture. And that's okay too. Everyone discovers things at a different pace, and everyone who you think should be with you will not be with you. Do you know anyone who, well, see, someone was, I don't know if they wanted to be brought on camera, but please, if you want to be brought on camera, just let me know, send me a message, and I'll get you on and we'll have a conversation. Do you know that have you realized that people who admonish religion, once they leave religion, they quickly find themselves attaching themselves to something else that they will treat like a religion, but not see the irony in that situation? For example, right now you have many people who say, well, believe science, do not believe in creation. Science is the way to go. But when they're met with science, sometimes when science is fought with science, sometimes they only want to believe the science they like, or they want to believe something, they want to treat science as if it was a religion. So are you for religion or are you not for religion? Because sometimes people just want to be on the side that's more popular. Ladies, if you want to eat on a first date, eat. Eat. Don't make believe like you don't eat because you don't want your date to think that you have an eating problem, or that you have some kind of eating disorder. It's strange if you do not eat. Get something and eat. Food is good. Food is your friend. There are parts of this world that food is scarce. No one will think of you differently if you eat. Just like if you have to use the bathroom, if you have to empty out, just empty out. Let it go. And you'll feel better. Like your stomach will stop making all kinds of strange noises. Just empty out. It's okay. We all have to do it. It's normal. It's a human thing to do. Is it just me, or have you realized that when you need faith the most, or you have people who just talk about faith being the start and the be all and end all, when they need to use their practice, they just don't, especially over the last few years. Faith seems to be just one of those 5-letter words that is never practiced. Oh, I believe in faith and no one can separate me from my maker, but when I get a chance to exercise that faith, I'll just go with whatever is on the mainstream news and the media. So do you welcome the opportunity to use that faith in your voice, in your action, or are you allowing yourself to be intimidated by other powers that are not of faith? Think about it. It's an honest question. What does faith look like? Have you ever been by a crossing in a river? Excuse me. Have you ever been by the river's crossing or an ocean? You're the first person, or you never done it before, or the first person that has ever done it in history. The one thought that had to come to their mind is, what if I sink? What if I don't make it until a few years have passed? And then you see people on the other side, and some have even come back, or you've heard news of the people that made it across, that they are living better because they made it across, because they dared to risk. And then you wonder, what if I would have risked? It will help some people, risking that is, but it won't help everyone, because it's not in everyone to risk what they have. You risk to gain, but you also risk to lose and fall flat on your face. And that's a risk too big for many of us. How will I support my family? I am the head of the family. I am the breadwinner. I can't talk. I can't move. I can't say the things that you say until all the voices are silenced. In that crossing of the river, if you're the first person to cross the river, you are going to realize you are very unsure, because you don't know where to place your feet, where to row your boat, where to place things so you make it across safely, where and which direction to go, how to use the wind, especially if you are not versed in navigation. But you know that someone has made it across. And once you made it across, once you start to make it across, because you've seen someone make it across, you will have an idea of how to live your life, because now you know that what you had to go to. And you had made promises before you made it across, that if I ever make it across, I am going to help so many people once I make it across. Until you realize the people that you wanted to help, some of them don't want to be helped. Or others start telling you that you are bad for making it across and for telling other people how to cross it. What do you do in that situation? Do you keep trying to help people get across? Or do you stay on your side and hope that other people don't get there? Think about the first people that had to venture out in whatever field, in whatever direction, in whatever navigation. If you go now to the Arctic, you know what you will find? You will find that someone, some two, some three, some four, some dozens, have been there before. Once you get to Mount Everest, you'll discover that there have been some people there before, because someone decided to venture out. You might see a flag, or you might see some skeletons, and you will learn from both on your way down or on your further ascension to the top. What do you do then? If anyone would like to have more conversations like this, I welcome you to chat with me. And it's not often that we get a chance as a society to chat one-on-one, because when I say they, I mean the mainstream media as well as certain parts of our government, wish to see us fighting every time, tense and separated and not getting along. Will you fall for it, or will you break free from it? And will you make it if you break free from it? Or do you just have to get along to appear like you are drinking the Kool-Aid? Have you asked in the last few minutes? Have you asked a large group of people if they have if they have a pen so you can write something down with? Who are you crossing the river for? Is it for your family? Is it for a relative? Is it for your people, whoever your people are? Are you good enough to sacrifice for your own good? Do you need a large group of people telling you you are doing okay for you to keep going? Who gives you your validation? Do you need someone to give you validation before you start doing something? How many friends are you willing to lose? Are you willing to stand there when no one else is willing to stand there with you? Are you willing to find other people that you have things in common with just by expressing yourself? And there are a lot of methods of expression. Art is a big form of expression. A lot of the artists have gone into hiding now because they don't want to be canceled. A lot of comedians have gone into hiding for the same reason. A lot of our teachers have gone into hiding for the same reason. A lot of our motivational speakers and our doctors have gone into hiding for the same reason. What will you do with your voice? Do you need someone to give you permission? If you do, I'm going to raise my hand and give you that permission if that's something that you need. Do you need me to be okay with you? Do you need, if I dislike your video and give it a thumbs down, is that enough to break your focus? Enough to break your concentration? Enough to break the spark of genius that you had in you before you started and before someone commented on your video? When is enough enough? It's easy to intimidate someone. Why? Because, and these are just suggestions. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any PhDs on my wall. I don't have anything that says I am an authority. Just a bunch of pictures and a bunch of words on a notebook that I bought at the dollar store. Bullying is something that's auditory, and it's also something that is visual, meaning that's something that you see and something that you hear. So if there's someone with a military and they knock down an individual or individuals, the rest of the group sees it and they know not to do that. That's a graphic example, but if you want a smaller example, you go to the gym. A person standing next to you wants to prove to you that the space around his machine or his weights is their own and they don't want anybody near them. What's the first thing that they do? They might start grunting or they might start slamming the weights. You recognize that as a form of aggression, and you might not get close to the person who has occupied a whole bunch of machines near you. And as long as everyone follows the unwritten rule that that noise is for that person to be left alone, you will think that that machine will belong to that person until someone actually goes and uses a machine that that person has a bag next to and begins to use it. And you will see that that person most likely will try to avoid a confrontation and was not as tough as you once thought. How about if you are that person? How about if you become that person that is not going to be intimidated by visuals and is not going to be intimidated by auditory things. Whether it's the news, whether it's a large sound echoing from every advertisement, every email service, every place of work that's telling you, do what we say or you are canceled. How about if you decide to be that person to stand up to that person grunting and occupying all the machines when you are on a time schedule? Are you going to wait to live according to someone else's schedule who is doing nothing for you except telling you no, you must obey? Your answer might be yes. And then at the same time, you are wondering, how do I get to the other side of the river? How do I get to the other side of the ocean? Why am I always on the same side? Well, that person must have made it across because they have some kind of special power. Or they must have made it apart to the other side because they have more money, or because they have a different color than I do, or because they have a different race. Can you think as a free man and as a slave at the same time? Well, a challenge for you might be to try thinking as a free man. As close as you can get to free. We're all bound to something. What does freedom look like to you? Oh, what does freedom look like to you? What are you passing on to your children? What example do you want to leave behind? How do you want to live your life? Do you know that if you ask someone to just join a conversation, the first thing they do is look around because they don't want people to hear their voice? See, public speaking, it's not just what you do online, it's what you do outdoors too, in public. You could be in line at a supermarket and you see the person in front of you drop their glove. And many people will not open their mouth to say, "Excuse me, you dropped your glove." Or, "Excuse me, your money's sticking out of your pocket." Because you are afraid to use your voice. You might not be shy. You might not be antisocial. You might not be that thing that's considered awkward. You're just not used to using your voice because you've been driven inside by your own mentality. You're locked inside yourself. You might be, just might be. Consider that as a possibility. You can always do better. So can I. I'm going to try to go back to where I was. If you're interested in criminal science, as I am, you will especially, I was doing some research in Philadelphia when most crimes occur. Most crimes occur in Philadelphia between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. Most people would think that it would be at night, but even criminals keep business hours. They have places to be. They have schedules to keep. The height of crime in Philadelphia happens at 11 o'clock a.m. So if you're telling someone you love, don't go out at night, nighttime might be the safest time that they can be outside. Between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. is supposedly the highest times in which you might experience a crime in the Philadelphia area. Very interesting. How are we doing on time? As I'm recording, I'm not even sure if the audio is coming out, so I could have been talking for about an hour without Any sound coming out? Let's continue. Don't be afraid to try new things. If you are an actor, become a dancer. If you are an accountant, become a plumber. Try different things. Why limit yourself? Why put a label on yourself? I think most people are pretty liberal and pretty conservative at the same time, regardless of what the media is giving you. Most people will group you upon what they see when they look at you. If they look at you and you're playing music and you have hair like mine, they might think that you like to play hip hop or you like to play reggae, and they might group you in that category. It's okay to be labeled, and it's okay for someone else to group you, but it's up to you to define who you are. I encourage you to define the person that you are. Please. And don't fight too hard to be seen in a certain way, and don't force anything. Whatever you like is what you like. You don't have to give an explanation for why you like something. I've known guys to be strong and brutish and enjoy poetry. I've seen guys who enjoy poetry and at the same time be math wizards. And I've seen people that enjoy watching documentaries and at the same time they like something that's completely fiction. So explore areas in your life in which that you don't think that you will fit in, but you enjoy. If it's cosplay, if you want to go out looking like a raccoon, I think all that had to happen was people had to see that they had to invent filters and emojis for you to look like animals, and then all of a sudden you got to see people's kid side come out. That's something that a lot of people like to hide. We're not so much different than kids, and if you give us a chance, we will try different things. And yeah, another thing that's pretty interesting is the things that people do to keep looking young, whether it's pulling white hairs off of their head or their beard or their mustache, or getting implants or fillers all over their body to avoid a wrinkle, be careful with that stuff. That stuff could be dangerous. I was listening to Tommy Sotomayor, and he was talking about how Kanye West's mother died because she went someplace where she was going to have numerous plastic surgeries all in one day. If it costs your life to keep looking young, you might want to explore the wonders of aging, perhaps aging gracefully. Beauty is subjective. And that thing that we call beauty, not too many of us have it on the outside. A lot of us have it on the inside, and that can be okay. You might find something you like about yourself on the inside that no one can see, but they might see it if you use your voice. The first way that many people see beauty is through manners. So if you think that a lot of people are meeting you not so nice, use your manners or learn to express yourself in a different way. Smile once in a while, groom yourself, work out, use a different posture. People tend to like people that are pleasant wherever you are, whatever race you are, whatever part of the country you are. I've lived in a lot of different countries, and there's a language that everybody understands, and that's manners. If you are over 40 and are still shy, it doesn't wear well. Please Just get rid of it. Please, it just doesn't. If you're worried about what someone else thinks of you and something happens when you reach 40, that the things that used to bother you when you were 20 should by then be completely erased from your life. I heard someone says cancel culture is exactly in its name. You cancel culture. And the culture might be why someone decided to come to this country in the first place, to express themselves freely. Are there some limits to freedom of speech? Yes. Is it up to someone else to decide? No. You're allowed to call me whatever you want. I'm allowed to decide whether I want to be around you or not. There's a freedom in that. This shirt is a Counting Crows shirt. One of my favorite bands. I started listening to them in 2003. And my favorite album by them is Hard Candy. I have it displayed on my shirt. I try not to wear a lot of shirts with logos, but I do like to wear shirts of bands that I like and companies that I like, or some kind of message. Let me see, how are we doing on time? Okay. There's no football this week. This is the week in between the conference finals, championships, and the Super Bowl. So there are a lot of lost people today. For those of you that still watch football, Antonio Brown, great player. Can you trust him to stay on the field? No. Would people still be talking about him the same way if he was certain Olympic athletes and a tennis player? No, they would not. Can he use some help? I think everybody can use some help. I'm not going to single him out. He did nothing to me. He gets paid millions of dollars to play a sport. What am I reading now? The last book that I read was a poetry book by Audre Lorde. Collection of poems. Best utensil to write with. Let's see if I have it near me. I don't. I have the refill. But it's a stainless steel zebra pen by stainless steel company. Here it is, the refills for it. That's what I use to write. I used to write a lot more. Now I listen a lot more. Philadelphia, New York. I was born in New York. New York will always have a special place for me. If you want your money to go further, you live someplace else. So, in this case, Philadelphia. If you live in New York, you might not begin to be an adult until after you leave New York because of all the red tape and how government is run. Philadelphia is not much better, but they do allow you a little bit more freedom, if you can call it that nowadays, but definitely a little bit outside of Philadelphia. Any advice for someone who wants to get into photography? Start. Don't delete any photos that you think are not good. I grew up in a time before there was a viewer screen in the back of the camera where you can see if your photo was to your liking or not. Don't get caught up in looking at every picture to see if it's how you like it. It might be a bad habit. Get in the practice of using light, or if you don't want to use light, now with digital photography, you can leave it on autofocus. Invest in prime lenses. Invest in telephoto lenses. And you don't have to change equipment every 3 years. You don't have to go everywhere with your gear. I actually advise against that unless you're going to a specific location and are going to be there for a while. Then take more of your equipment. It just doesn't make any sense to have I've seen people with a lot of just camera, book bags and lenses and just everything. They're just carrying everything. And they're just a prime target for thieves and people who are looking to rob them. And if you're listening and you would like to come on, just hit the button and we'll have a civilized conversation. I am not looking to get famous off of controversy, just interesting conversation. That's all I am here for. The internet connects people worldwide, and yeah, let me see. Yeah, you can connect with anyone from around the world, but it only works if they want to come on. You can't force anybody to come on. I forgot this guy's name. Let's see. But we'll see. We'll see. You can't force people to do anything. But also continuing on photography, if you can follow me on, if you want to, on Instagram. I have about 5 different pages on Instagram, mainly because I want my work to be seen, and it's self-expression. It's something I've been doing for years now, probably since 2000, I'm going to say since 2004. So I have some experience in it. At my highest, I would get about 150 likes a day and a lot of engagement. And because of politics and other things, my views are not as high as they used to be. And I traded views for being open, and I don't mind that. And I think it's fine because it's up to you to adapt to the situation. It's not up to whatever you're using to advertise to all of a sudden say, we want you here and let's make it easier on you. You have to find a way to sail the waters wherever you are, whether it's at work, your family, relationships, or anywhere. And Ken Roy, if you're there, let's chat, man. Let's have a conversation. It's Sunday night here in the eastern part of the United States. Let's talk about everything. Let's talk about the world. Let's talk about the weather. Let's talk about things that we can do without. I'm not looking for gotcha moments. I'm not looking to make anyone look stupid. I'm just looking to express thoughts. I'm looking to express whatever we have in our minds. Shoo. We'll see. I sent him. There he is. We'll see. Maybe he'll stop by. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he won't. I don't know. But I did send an invitation. The thing is, when I'm doing a live broadcast like I am now, and I'll probably take this down after, it's because I don't want to get flagged and not be able to broadcast. So what I'll do is I'll download this after I finish, and then I'll upload it to YouTube, where I started making more content on YouTube, just the same as I was doing in 2008, 2009. think one of the first broadcasts I went down to, the inauguration for Barack Obama in 2009. It was the first time I did something like that. Being in D.C., the weather was felt like about 9 degrees with the wind chill factor, and just stayed out there overnight doing interviews with people. One of the most tiring days. I remember staying at a friend's house and my hands were freezing, kept going to Starbucks and CVS to warm up my hands, and taking Amtrak back with a train full of people that had just come back from DC. And the most interesting part of going to the Obama inauguration was that we did not actually get to meet Obama, and he actually didn't come down the road where we were stationed. We were right in front of the railing, but he didn't come down that way. And they said something had happened. Ted Kennedy actually had died that day, or he had a heart attack or something like that, and they had to change plans. Something happened. I remember Kennedy's name coming up, and we were right in front of the Minnesota Police Department. Their sheriffs, they were taking care of our section, and he never did come down our way. And we waited for a lot of hours. Oh my goodness. And I couldn't feel my feet by the time I got home. And if there was some kind of teleported device that I can use, I would have been able to use. I would have used it just to get out of there after standing for hours and hours and hours and trying to find the bathroom and holding it in and trying not to drink and then drinking and then. But it was interesting. It was a part of history, I guess. We didn't know what to expect during that time from Barack Obama. And towards the end, it wasn't as exciting as it was in the beginning, going to the inauguration. And I think a lot of people, if they're honest, they would say the same thing. The country wasn't the same. And what people thought Obama was going to be was, I guess, some kind of savior or some kind of man that stood for other things, maybe for family, maybe for more on the side of the people, but not really. I think he was more for government and taking rights away from people, looking at it now. I think a lot of women liked him. I think because he was handsome, that got him a lot of votes. And you have to be careful when people get votes because they're handsome. They use that excuse for Bill Clinton too. Oh, he's so handsome and he's so young and he's the prettiest thing since John F. Kennedy. And well, just what are his policies? What is he going to bring? Does he have an agenda besides playing the saxophone? Some of the other things that he did in the White House, well, again, what do you stand for? What changed during his time in office? You can ask the same thing about Barack Obama. Yeah, let me see. This is my banker's light back there. Helps me read when it's dark. You could get it at Amazon for about $30. That's requested. Yeah. Let's see. I'm just going to take a few more minutes here with you. Most people, I would say, they wait until the end to get started on things that they probably could have started earlier, whether it's relationships. They wait to the end to really start showing how they feel towards something. And you really get to understand some of the people that came before, the notable people in history, like Nikola Tesla, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, some of the writers, Emily Dickinson, who I believe never got to see her poetry published because of the attitude towards women at the time. we don't appreciate people while they're doing the thing that many other people are not doing. And that's probably a human flaw, and we recognize it later on in history. But it's something that everybody wants. Everybody wants some kind of support, and they want it from people that they think it should come from. But I'm going to tell you, don't expect support from the people that you want it from, because what you might consider support is just people looking to be entertained. And people who are looking to be entertained are not really supporters. Supporters are the people that are going to invest in you or go into uh, a journey with you, an investment with you, or the people that keep their promises to you, the people that have shown you repeatedly that they are in it for growth and not just to pass the time. You can do that with anyone. Everyone likes to receive money, but everybody doesn't like to put out a product or support in a way in which they could support. So if you look at a lot of the people that were funding Martin Luther King Jr., they weren't the names that you thought would be supporting him. So, but the people who he was fighting for were the people that then were saying, how come he's not doing this? How come he's not doing that? And I see it with Tommy Sotomayor online. He speaks to a lot of people that are not able to say the things in which he says. And and then he's being viewed by people who want him to do things differently, but they don't put one dime into supporting whatever message he's going on about. And that's perhaps, like I said, it's our biggest flaw. We want things for free. We want things to cost nothing. Business is business. We don't treat business like a fan club. I've been to restaurants. There was a vegan restaurant here in Philadelphia. I believe it was in the part of Philly known as West Philly. And it was called Atia's. And it was a little old, elderly black woman who was running the place. And most of the patrons in there were, or what should be patrons, they were just sitting there talking, having conversations, having deep, or you would consider woke conversation, but no one's buying anything. Sometimes I would be the only one buying food when I would go in there. And I'd be sitting around about 12 people, just chatting it up, not buying anything. So do you want to run a business or do you want to run a fan club? Many times when you're doing business with someone, they see it as a place to hang out. Why do you want someone around you that is not helping you with the business? You think that Microsoft or Apple just lets people just hang in their corporate offices without purchasing anything, without being able to help them in some way? Think about it. If you don't treat yourself as a business, then you treat yourself as just an interesting hobby that was not meant to flourish. You have to see yourself as a business, not someone who is getting likes. What is a like going to do for you? Now, I appreciate a like, but most people who will like your stuff will not become a patron of your business. They're just going to like it because either they want you to like their stuff back or they want just you to notice them. But what you want is people to actually take out money from themselves, from their wallet, or from their business and put it to work. Money is not to just hoard and to keep what you have. Money helps you gain favor. When done right, money is supposed to help you gain favor. Why do you think it influences elections so much? Why do you think Facebook put so much money behind a certain political party? Money is supposed to help you gain favor anytime it leaves your hand and it transfers to another hand. Think about that. Your bank keeps your money, holds your money, protects your money, but it's insured by another company, and they also gain interest on your savings account by you letting them keep your money. Interest that if you take your money out, you're going to receive a deduction from the money that they were giving you as interest. So they don't see you they see you as a person that's utilizing their business. They don't see you as a friend, and they don't see you as someone who's just part of their club. Chase Bank, TD Bank would care less if you like their post. They care that you do business with them. There's excellence in knowing that. Expect excellence. Expect the people you work with to be excellent as well. My opinion of your business should mean something to you, but not in the form of a like. And if you ask someone for their opinion, make sure you want to hear what they're saying. Don't stop someone from talking and giving you advice if you are not interested. I had someone on Instagram send me a poem and ask me what I thought about the poem. And she sent me about 4 different versions of it. When I commented on the poem, she took down the poem that she had put up and made another post saying, if people who really don't like poetry shouldn't be on my page. When someone gives you constructive criticism, it's not for you don't have to do anything with it. Regardless of what I'm telling you now, you're going to do what you want. I can't change your life. Neither can anyone who you're paying $200, $2,000 to take a course from. Eventually, when you get home, or by the time you leave that seminar, you are going to do what you want to do. Just like that person who you want to convince to lose weight, once they get home, they're going to open the refrigerator, they're going to see that big piece of cake, they're going to say, well, that makes more sense to me now than getting my life in order, than getting my diet in order. So people have choices to make. It's not up for you to kick yourself in the behind for making a choice that you think you have no control over, but know that you can get better if you want to, but no one can do it for you. So she put the poem back up. That person on Instagram, she put the poem back up. And then she sent another poem. And this time I did not comment on the poem. I commented on the person's reading voice, which I thought was excellent. And this is all on private message, direct message. All they had to say was, thank you. I need money right now. Can you cut and paste your message that you just sent me on my main page so everyone can see it? I can make some money. I didn't respond at all. What are you going to do with that? I mean, what are you going to do with that? There's a lot of bad business going on. People are willing to help you, but most people are looking to use your name without anything being exchanged. If you make a post right now on Instagram, you're going to get about 20 different posts from different people wanting you to go to their page or wanting to promote you without even saying hello. So if phoniness is at an all-time high, then you have to decide, is this going to make or break me? Now is a great time to make a splash and to market yourself, but the right way. Fake likes and buying likes are only going to go so far. Eventually, your business is going to represent you, what you have inside. and how far you want to take it. Your business is only going to take you as far as you're willing to invest in yourself. When I was 29, before I got 29, I had already seen 3 continents. And that was an investment I made in myself that is still helping me today. Risk. I wanted to help someone. I wanted to help people. That's what I did. I got to do that. Do I have to do it every single day? No. Can someone make you feel guilty or try to make you feel guilty for not helping someone every day? Yes, they can try to. You don't have to go by it. You have a choice. Most people who are looking for you to help them, they won't help someone else. Most people who are asking you for money in your inbox, they can do nothing for you. But they keep asking you, and you see the way they lead their lives. They're not trying to help someone else, but they're trying to fish with a rod that has bait that they use for everyone, not thinking that you can see through it. Now, you can do what you want. You can help wherever you want. But most people who are asking you for help don't even like you. They like the things that you have, or they're jealous of the things you have. They're not happy with what they have. They want more, and they want to get it off your back. And if that person is doing that, you decide whether you want to be put in that position or not. I think everyone has something to give, and most of it is not money, but in the way of an opportunity to do business, an opportunity to grow internally. But if I have to take it from someone else, then hey, you can encourage people just by making this video. A lot of people are going to be encouraged just by seeing me sit here on a Sunday night, just talking, just chatting. And I have influenced more people that way than by telling you what to do. Because you see what people do, and it's what you've already done. Now, you can decide to give thanks or not. I'm sure the first person to make a pen didn't all go back to the person who made the pen and say, well, thank you for making this pen, or that was the first person who made the pen. Are you doing it for credit, or are you doing it because you want to move the human race forward? In anything you do, in any interaction you have. Someone might be influenced by just having a conversation like this for a little more than an hour now, and not having to go into the typical conversation about race, about feminism, about victimization, about victimhood, about who's taking advantage of me. So whoever you feel is controlling you, is that person is who you're going to be controlled by. Some people might feel that their victimhood is as far as they want to go, but it's up to you. Some people might be influenced, and I'm sure encouraged by me, that I've been here for more than an hour having a conversation with you and have not mentioned any form of victimhood, not even once. I spoke about business. I spoke about going forward. I spoke about not letting yourself get down. And I spoke about about risking and how to set an example without asking for validation. I spoke about having pens. I spoke about writing things down. And some of the things that we write down are not exactly, if you notice, some of the things that you write down are things that if you tried to remember them later, you wouldn't have if you didn't put them down in lead or in ink. That's how fast our mind moves. That's how, and there's peace in that, because you know that if something bad happens to you, you're just not going to remember it. You're going to let it go. You're going to not hang on to it. That's the way that you want to take problems. You know you're going to get through it. You don't know. You might not know how, but you know you're going to get through it. So I would love to see a society of people that ask more questions, and less of a society that says, look at me, look at me, look at me, to be popular. If every day you're going to take the same selfie and want validation from people, then I have to question your independence. Now, I also have to understand that your selfie might be your business. But does it move society forward? No. Is that your goal? No. Does everyone have to have the same goal? No. Just if a politician looks like you, it doesn't mean, just because a politician looks like you, does not mean that they have your same interests in mind. You have to let someone be an individual and not be tricked by someone just because they look like you, they have the same haircut as you, they have the same car as you, they have the same clothes as you. The best way to infiltrate anyone is to wear the disguise that you know you're going to be accepted by. So if I wear a Trump hat and I wear a hunter's gear, I have a rifle, I have certain kind of boots, I have a pickup truck, and I'm wearing flannel, guess what? That's a uniform. Just like a gay person who wants to show someone that they're gay, there's certain clothes that that person will wear if they want to be noticed by someone else who's gay, or the way they talk, or the way they stand, or just to send a signal out there. So there's all these signals. And if you want to be an individual, that's a choice you have to make. But it's a lonely path. It's going to be harder. They don't prepare you to be an individual in school, and they won't prepare you to take risks in school. And it's something you have to venture out on your own for, and you won't know you're doing the right thing until the end of your life, if you get there. And that's why a lot of people don't do it. They rather play safe. So thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere this Sunday night. I'm going to transition into something else or somewhere else. And I wish you a good night. Thank you for being with me here today, because you could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here. I will take this video down shortly and upload it to YouTube. I will share the link on Facebook and on other sites shortly. Have a great night and have an excellent week. Bye.